What is up, YouTube? This is DBZ439 coming at you with another deck profile for January 2021, and it's Trap Tenyi. This is going to be the first video for the year, so hopefully everyone has a good start to this year. So today we're going to be looking at Trap Tenyi. It's kind of like my variation of the deck. I feel it's super budget friendly, aside from some hand traps, which are up to player preference, but this deck is very, very budget friendly. It's very, I guess, beginner friendly as well. If you want to get into the game, you can, definitely pick this deck up for like $20 or maybe $30 for the whole complete set. Very cheap. The biggest drawback of this deck from preventing it being like a decent rogue or tier 2 deck is that cards like Ashuna and Shaman, they lock you into worms, so that doesn't really give you a good blend of like accessible like extra deck monsters you can go into, or just monsters in general, because they lock you into worms. But other than that, I feel this deck is really strong. So again, like, this is my variation of the deck, and I like to make it like really trap heavy because there's a lot of control going around, like Zodiac, Eldritch, Dogmatica, and that's a control deck, and this is a control deck. So I feel like, control decks in general can kind of thrive. I know there's some combo running around like Virtual World, Drytron, Dinosaur, but this deck has, with a decent amount of traps, it's pretty consistent, honestly. I don't have like the new stuff like Heavenly Cycle, but it's fine because it just opens up more space for cards that I like to run, like the trap cards. So without any further ado, let's start the deck profile with the main deck. Starting off with triple Ashuna. Arguably the best one and the worst one. So like I was saying, it locks you into worms. But before we start, all Tenyis, what they do is they let you special summon themselves if you control no effect monsters. So that's what all the Tenyis do. And then they all have like grave effects, where if you control a non-effect monster, you can like trigger effect. So for this one, obviously special summons from hand, like all the Tenyis, as long as you don't control an effect monster. But in Grave, like, if you banish it, you can as long as you control a non-effect monster, which is usually Tenyi, Monk of the Tenyi. You can special summon a Tenyi card from deck, but the problem is it locks you into worms. So like I said, it's the best one and it's the worst one because it specials from deck, which is it's like an E-Telly, but it locks you into worms. So you got to be really careful when you activate this effect, because there are some cards in the extra deck we run that are not worms, so you just got to be careful. But the idea is you want to get to Sahasrara. I don't know how to say that, but it's the Link 4 Tenyi monster that puts in a lot of work for this deck. So this card is really good. It can also like banish itself from hand, which I don't know really comes up. You much rather like get it on field, link it off, and then use it in grave to get maximum mileage. But yeah, it's the only Tenyi that you can actually banish from hand if you control them. If all the monsters you control are not effect monsters. Alright, next one is Adhara. This helps you, again, free special from hand. It's a tuner, so it helps you go into your synchro place. It was really popular when Needle Fiber was a thing. Right now, Needle Fiber, thankfully, is like really quiet right now due to the banning of Link Cross. But what I was saying is, in Grave, if you control a non-effect monster, you can banish it. Add one of your banished Tenyi monsters, so that's really cool. Next up, one of my favorite Tenyi monsters, because it helps you go second. It's a free bounce. Like, it bounces any card, like face up, face down, monster, spell, trap. So it really helps you go second. Again, free special, and it's like one of the good cards. Like I know it's a trap deck, but I do run 9 cards that help me go second. I run Vishuda, Ash, and Imperm. Again, Ash and Imperm are not really budget, but again, you can just like run like Effect Veiler, DD Crow, or Effect Veiler, some trap card you like I don't know, like Psalm Strike, Psalm Judgment, Black Horn of Heaven, any of that stuff is pretty cool. But Vishuda is one of the 9 cards that I run to help me go second. It can go first, obviously, just a board, but its effect to banish and grave, it helps you go second. Next you run like the Tenyi. I run like 3 Tenyis at 2 ofs, which aren't that great. That's why they're at 2. Shthana, it helps you, like, if one of your non-effect monsters gets destroyed by battle, you can banish this card and then revive it, so it just keeps board presence. So the idea is you want to keep non-effect monsters on your field to make Sahasrara live. Sahasrara live, because as long as that's live with a non-effect monster, your opponent can't target stuff, and targeting stuff is really like crucial in this game. Like they can't even like equip cards. They can't even like target their own monsters to like use effect like Overraptor to target like a Dino to revive. So the game plan is obviously go first. You set up your traps, and then you try to get to Sahasrara, maybe even the Berserker, Synchro monster to help you establish monsters. But the idea is you just want to keep your non-effect monsters on field. So this helps you revive them after they get destroyed by battle. This one helps protect them in battle by decreasing your opponent's monster's attack by 1500. So that's really cool. It's only for non-effect monsters again. And the last Tenyi you run is triple or double Mapura, I should say. Like I said, you just only run the doubles of like the lesser ones. But this one helps prevent from targeting. And again, you have Sahasrara to help you. Sahasrara actually only protects your effect monsters from targeting. This one, Mapura, helps your non-effect monsters from targeting. So that's really cool. I know I'm kind of rambling on, so let's just try to speed this up a little bit. You run the double Mare Mare. You only run the double because you run the Desires, but you want to see this card engrave, and you just want to revive it with Shaman. Last of the monsters, it's triple Ash Blossom, and again, no need to explain. Best hand trap ever, probably, aside from Maxi. But again, Ashuna budget, but that you can change it, like I said, to like Effect Veiler, DD Crow. That's it for the monsters. Should be 20 monsters. Onto the spells, you run 8. Run triple Vessel. Basically, it's a Rhoda and a Foolish Burial. It's really good in the deck, obviously, but the problem is to get its Rhoda effect. Like, it's Foolish Burial, like, regardless, unconditional, but its Rhoda effect, you need to have a non-effect monster on field, so you need to have Monk to get the Rhoda effect, so it's really nice. And again, like I said, triple Desires, you run multiples of everything, you don't care what you banish. One Foolish, because it's another Vessel, and one Monster Reborn, because it's an Extender. That should be 8 spells. Onto the traps, it should be 12. Again, it comes to player preference, but I like playing the deck control, so I run triple Compulsory Evacuation Device to bounce monsters. Triple Lost Wind to like negate special summon monsters, and then it can recur itself, so that's really cool. Triple Crackdown, being able to take your opponent's monsters is really good, and then you can just link it off, so that's really cool. Just interrupt your opponent's plays. And like I said, the last hand trap I run is triple Infinite Impermanence. Again, feel free to swap it out for any like budget spell or any budget trap cards that you may feel that you like to run in the deck. Again, it's up to player preference. Let's quickly get onto the side deck. The whole side, this deck is built to go first, and the side helps it go second. So the one Pankratops, triple Nibiru for like Virtual World, even Drytron, triple Lancea for like Dinosaur and Virtual World. For back row hate, we run the one Duster. For board breaker cards, triple Dark Ruler No More. And then for more back row hate, one Red Reboot, triple Evenly Match for the back row. So that's it for the side deck. Quickly, again, this is not really budget, but again, you can just run a bunch of hand traps for the side. This is just what I have for if I were to take it to a locals. Onto the extra deck, one Sahasrara. So again, this card, like, you want to this is the kind of like the boss monster of the deck. You definitely want to get into this card, being able to target your opponent's monsters, generating big tokens, linking them off, making this card live with the token. It's really strong. One Berserker of the Tenyi, another card that you can have on board with the Sahasrara to like make the Sahasrara live. Triple Monk, absolutely necessary. You could probably, if there wasn't a limit on 3, you should probably run more. You go through this card so frequently. One Draco Master, it just frees up space on the field, like when you link ladder, and then it can pop effect monsters on the field, depending on how many non-effect monsters you have in grave. So that's really cool. The cool thing is non-targeting, but one bad thing is you can't control any effect monsters when you resolve the effect. And it can only pop effect monsters, so it can't like pop back row, for example. Next to double Shaman, I think 1 is too less, 3 is too many. 2 Shaman I think is perfect. The idea is you want to revive the Mare Mare from grave with the Shaman. And again, this one of the weaknesses of the deck is that Shaman locks you from summoning any other monsters except for worm monsters from the extra deck. So that's one of the reasons why the deck isn't as strong as it could be. But another cool effect with Shaman is that if you go into battle with a non-effect monster, during either battle phase, when a battle is declared with a non-effect monster, so like a token, a monk, Berserker, the Link 3, this guy, if a battle is declared with any of these guys, you can pop a card on field, so that's really strong. Next up for the non-worm Link monsters, we run the one Avramax because it goes well with IP Masquerena. If you can basically get into these cards before you lock yourself with Shaman or Ashuna, that's really cool. And then just making it indestructible Avramax with the Masquerena is broken. One LANphorhynchus, just a generic Link monster. Again, it's your fourth monk, you could say, because it's a non-effect monster that can proc all of your Tenyi monster effects in grave. The one Apollousa you can link up with Crackdown, for example, and the one Link Spider because you do generate a lot of tokens and a lot of non-effect monsters, so you can just link for a Link Spider to help you go into Apollousa, for example. The last 2 monsters are synchros and they're both worms. The one Draco Berserker, which is kind of like a Ghost Ogre. It doesn't negate a monster, but it banishes it, and it just gets really beefy in battle phase, so it's one of your OTK options. And then Baxia just helps you clear board by popping usually itself and another card on your opponent's field. And then what happens is you can special summon any Tenyi. Actually, you can't pop itself. You have to select one level 4 or lower monster on your in your graveyard. So it says once per turn you can target one card you control and one level 4 lower monster in your graveyard. Destroy that target on the field, and if you do, special summon the other monster from the grave. But the other effect is let's see. Yeah, when it's synchro summoned is what makes it really good, because with the different attributes, you can shuffle cards on the field, but the problem is it does target, so it's non-targeting. If it was non-targeting, it would have been a lot better. So yeah, so that does it for the deck profile. Thank you guys so much for watching the deck. If you guys like this content, please subscribe and like the video. It definitely inspires me to upload more content. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a nice day.